The switch took 3 seconds. 3 seconds of silent, heart-pounding precision while Lisa's back was turned. Lisa filled the kettle, promising tea, just the way Shirley liked it. Her voice was overly bright. From her apron pocket, she slipped out a small folded paper. A quick glance toward the door, then she tipped it. The powder dissolved into the cup, leaving no trace. Lisa wiped her hands on her apron. The doorbell shattered the quiet, its insistent chime echoing through the hall.
I'll get it. Probably a package.
The moment the foyer swallowed Lisa, Shirley stepped to the counter. Her eyes locked on the 2 steaming cups. In one fluid motion, she swapped the cups, saucers scraping softly.
Here you are, Shirley. Freshly steeped.
Shirley took the cup. Lisa raised hers to her lips, the steam curling around her chin. 6 weeks earlier, Shirley Rossmore began her day as always since 1971, sliding the emerald ring onto her finger, praised at $87,000. The ring was more than money. It was the last voice of her grandmother. That Tuesday, her daughter-in-law Lisa arrived with a basket of scones and a smile that seemed painted on.
Shirley, that ring is stunning. I've never seen such deep green stones before.
Shirley accepted the compliment, but something in Lisa's tone made the words land off key.
That wasn't admiration. That was inventory.
When Lisa thought no one was watching, her eyes locked onto the ring with a covetous stillness that made Shirley's stomach clench. Shirley turned the ring slowly around her finger, the gold warm from decades on her skin. She had worn it through marriage, widowhood, and her son's wedding. Her grandmother had pressed it into her palm on a cold morning in 1971. "Guard it with your life," the old woman had whispered. By evening, a quiet unease had taken root. Lisa had left, but her stare lingered on the ring's green fire. Over the following 2 weeks, Lisa found reasons to stop by 3 more times. Each visit, her focus returned to the ring like a moth to a flame.
Shirley, have you ever had it appraised? Estate pieces like that go for a fortune these days.
The question didn't sit as idle curiosity. It landed with the weight of a bid.
She's pricing it. She wants to know exactly what it's worth.
Lisa's tone shifted again the next visit, turning sharp when she asked if Michael knew the ring was here.
Michael never mentions that ring. Sometimes I wonder if he even knows it exists.
That evening, Shirley found her prescription bottle turned label down on the bathroom shelf. She hadn't touched it in 3 days. The next morning, the spare house key hung on the wrong hook. Someone had replaced it wrong. By Friday, a bank statement was missing from the hallway table. The envelope stack sat crooked, flipped through.
That woman is inside my house, inside my things. She's searching for something more than a ring.
Shirley set down her tea and opened her laptop. She needed a reason for someone to ring the bell at exactly the right moment. She found it, a porcelain teacup set, delivery window, Tuesday afternoon. Her forefinger pressed order now on the kitchen calendar. She circled the 15th in red ink and wrote delivery expected in her neat script. That evening, Lisa called. Her voice was sweet, the concern practiced.
Shirley, I heard you are not feeling well. I could bring by some soup tomorrow.
That's so kind, Lisa. I'll be home all afternoon, actually. Just a quiet day.
Perfect. I'll come by around 2. We can have a nice visit.
Shirley hung up, her heart a quiet drum. The bait was taken. Tuesday morning dawned gray. Shirley dressed slowly, the ring heavy on her hand.
Today will tell me what kind of woman my son married.
At 2 o'clock sharp, a silver sedan pulled into the drive. Lisa emerged carrying a shopping bag and a smile that didn't crinkle her eyes.
Shirley, I brought some lavender scones. Let me make us some tea. It'll be so cozy.
Before Shirley could answer, Lisa already had the apron on, tying it behind her back with the swiftness of someone who had done it before.
She moves in here like she already owns the place.
Michael says you've been tired. He worries about you being alone so much.
Michael worries too much. I've been keeping myself busy.
Shirley positioned herself in the kitchen doorway, leaning against the frame. From there, she could see the counter without appearing to watch. Lisa filled the kettle at the sink, her back to Shirley. The water drummed against the metal. As the kettle began to hiss on the stove, Shirley's eyes flicked to the clock. No delivery truck yet. The window was narrow.
Come on, where are you?
The kettle whistled, and Lisa poured the amber tea into 2 china cups, steam curling upward. Then she did what Shirley had been waiting for. Her hand slid into her apron pocket. She pulled out a folded square of paper, creased and worn at the edges, no larger than a postage stamp. With her back deliberately angled away, she unfolded it. Fine white powder clung to the creases. Lisa tipped the powder into the cup on the left. It dissolved into the tea without a trace. She wiped her hands on her apron. The same brisk, almost unconscious motion Shirley had noticed twice before. She left the folded paper at the edge of the counter, forgotten, and turned toward the table.
There. Perfectly steeped.
She actually did it, right in front of me. She's drugging my tea. Now, please let that delivery come. Ring, just ring.
Then the doorbell rang. 2 clear chimes that split the silence like a judge's gavel.
Who on earth is that? Right in the middle of our tea.
She set the spoon down with a clatter and walked toward the front hall, her footsteps quick and irritated. The instant her figure disappeared into the foyer, Shirley stepped away from the doorway. 3 seconds. She reached the counter, lifted 1 saucer, and slid it to the opposite cup, a silent, flawless execution. Lisa returned with a small cardboard box, the shipping label, still creased, and placed it on the hall table.
Here you are, Shirley. Yours is the one on the right.
Shirley took the cup without hesitation. The china felt warm and ordinary against her palm.
Now we both drink, and we see who gets what they deserve.
Lisa raised her cup to her lips, steam curling around her chin. Shirley watched her over the rim of her own. Shirley held the tea to her lips, barely wetting them, while across the table Lisa drank deeply, the warmth spreading through her like a slow fire.
Tell me about your week, Lisa. Michael's been quiet. I thought maybe you 2 had plans.
No, nothing special. Just the same old.
Lisa's eyes lost focus, staring past Shirley's shoulder as if watching something invisible, her pupils dilating slightly. She reached for her cup again, but her fingers fumbled, claws catching air before the china. Tea skittered across the saucer.
My head feels heavy. Like the air's too thick to breathe.
Perhaps you are coming down with something. I've been tired all week myself.
Lisa blinked rapidly, each blink lasting a heartbeat longer than the last, her head dipping forward before she caught it. She tried to set the cup down, but misjudged the table's edge. The china hit and wobbled, spilling amber liquid across the wood in a spreading stain.
Shirley, I don't feel right. Something's wrong with me.
Lisa pushed her palms against the table's edge and forced herself upright, the chair scraping backward across the tile.
You put something in my tea. I saw you. You switched.
Lisa, sit down. You are not making sense. I've been right here.
Her knees buckled like wet paper, and she caught herself on the tabletop, fingers clawing at nothing. She collapsed backward into the chair, her head bowing forward, chin touching her chest.
There it is, full circle. The poison finds its maker.
A guttural sound escaped Lisa's throat, a word that never formed, before her body went slack.
Michael.
I'll call for help, Lisa. Just stay still.
Shirley stood slowly, the ring glinting on her finger, and crossed to the counter where the folded paper still lay. She lifted the folded paper with 2 fingers, its edges still soft from being crumpled in Lisa's palm. A ghosting of white dust clung to the creases. She carried it to the wall phone, each step deliberate, the paper pinched between forefinger and thumb like evidence. She dialed the 3 numbers that turn a home into a scene.
911. What's your emergency?
My daughter-in-law has collapsed. She's barely awake. I found a white powder on my kitchen counter where she was making tea.
An ambulance is on the way. Don't touch the powder. Stay on the line.
I won't. She's breathing but shallow. Please hurry.
Lisa's head lolled on her shoulder, her breathing a soft rasp. The spilled tea had dried into a sticky ring on the wood.
Now the real questions will be asked by someone else. I only had to make sure the right answers were waiting.
In the distance, the wail of a siren split the afternoon quiet. 2 paramedics rushed through the open door, a yellow kit swinging from one hand. The afternoon sun sliced across the hallway.
Ma'am, we're here. Can you tell us her name and what happened?
Lisa, she was making tea, and suddenly she couldn't stand. I found this paper on the counter right after.
The paramedic took the paper, pinching it through a plastic glove, and sealed it into a clear evidence bag from his kit.
Her pulse is weak, respiration shallow. Has she taken anything you know of?
She mentioned she'd been stressed, but I didn't see her take anything, just the tea.
The paramedics exchanged a glance, then lifted Lisa onto the stretcher with practiced efficiency, her head lolling.
We'll take this for analysis. You did the right thing, leaving it untouched.
Through the window, the red lights of the ambulance revolved in rhythmic pulses, painting the driveway crimson. The heavy doors swung shut, the siren wound up again, and the ambulance pulled away into the dull afternoon. At the hospital, a doctor met her in the corridor. Lisa was stable, sedated, an IV line threading medication into her arm. Before she could sit, a uniformed officer approached, notepad already out.
Mrs. Rossmore, I am Officer Morris. I need to ask you about what happened this afternoon.
Lisa came over for tea. She made it herself. Minutes after drinking, she slurred and couldn't keep her eyes open.
And the powder you found, did you see her handle it at all?
I didn't see anything unusual until I noticed the folded paper on the counter after she collapsed. It wasn't there before.
Did she seem anxious today? Could she have taken something intentionally?
She mentioned she's been under a lot of stress. I just want her to be okay.
The officer wrote it all down, then radioed for a unit to collect the teacups from Shirley's kitchen. He said they'd run tests on the powder, until results came back. It was a medical incident with open questions. Michael pushed through the hospital doors, his jacket rumpled, his face white.
Mom, I got a call from the police. Where is she? What happened?
Lisa came to visit. She made tea, then collapsed. I found a white powder on the counter.
Shirley lifted her hand, the emerald catching the harsh hospital light. She turned it slowly on her finger.
She wanted this, Michael. I think she was desperate. She's been talking about it for weeks.
Michael's face drained of color. The pieces he'd refused to see began to lock into place.
Mom, are you saying she tried to poison you? For the ring?
She asked me what it was worth. She moved my key. I am not accusing Michael, but the paper the paramedics took was hers.
He stared at the ring on her finger, then at her steady, sorrowful eyes. His own hand shook.
This can't be true, but the doubts had been there, and now they roared.
The following morning, Officer Morris returned to the hospital, a manila folder tucked under his arm. His expression was set.
The toxicology report just came in. Lisa had a massive dose of benzodiazepines in her system, and the lab lifted a pristine fingerprint from that folded paper. It's a perfect match to your wife.
Michael's breath stopped. His wife's greed had been measured in milligrams in lifted ridges, and now it stared back at him in black ink.
She actually did it. For a ring. She tried to kill my mother for a ring.
She's awake now. We're placing her under arrest for attempted poisoning. She'll be transferred to county.
Lisa sat up in her hospital bed, pale and trembling, as the officer read her rights. She looked past him to Michael, her eyes pleading.
Michael, please. I didn't mean. It was a mistake.
No more. She's not my wife. She's a stranger who wore a mask.
He turned his back on her and walked toward the door, leaving his mother's ring untouched and his marriage in ashes. At the door, Michael stopped. His hand shook on the frame. He turned back toward the bed.
Why, Lisa? You had everything. A home, a husband who loved you. Why would you do this?
I don't know. I wasn't thinking clearly. The pressure, the bills, it just happened.
It didn't just happen. You brought a folded paper with benzos. You planned it.
I just wanted her to relax, to sleep. I never meant real harm. She's so stubborn. That ring.
Stop lying. Your fingerprint is on the paper. The lab matched it. You tried to kill my mother.
That ring was supposed to be mine. She flaunted it. Your grandmother's ring. She never intended to give it up. She's a selfish old woman.
The mask had shattered. The greed, the calculation, the months of quiet probing, it all lay bare on her face.
She's gone. The woman I married doesn't exist.
He stepped backward into the corridor. The door whispered shut behind him, and he walked until the sound of her screaming was nothing but hospital quiet. Shirley unlocked the front door to a house that held its breath. The porch light buzzed once, then steadied. Inside, the kitchen had been wiped clean. The teacups were gone, taken as evidence, leaving only the faint scent of lavender soap. She lowered herself into her armchair, the one that had held her through widowhood and every quiet victory. In the dying light, the emerald burned deep and green, a silent witness to everything that had happened. She remembered her grandmother's hands, wrinkled and firm, pressing the ring into her palm in 1971. Guard it with your life.
I guarded it, Grandma, and I will, until my own hands go cold.
The sun dipped below the windowsill, and the stone flared once more before the room fell into a velvet gray.
She wanted to take it, but she took nothing. The ring is still mine.
She turned the band with her thumb, a habit that had worn a small groove into the gold over 5 decades, and in that hollow silence, she felt not loneliness but the weightless certainty of having done what was necessary. 2 days later, Michael's truck pulled into the drive. He knocked, the sound hesitant. Shirley opened the door. Michael's eyes were red-rimmed, his jacket still rumpled.
Mom, I don't know where to start. I am so sorry.
Come inside. Words aren't necessary if they're too heavy.
She led him through the quiet house to the porch swing, where the afternoon sun was thinning.
I should have seen it. The comments, the mail, the way she stared. I was blind.
Love blinds us, but it also gives strength to see clearly when the blindfold is torn away. This ring will be yours one day, Michael, but only when you are ready to guard it, as I have.
I am not ready now, but I'll learn.
They sat in silence, the house no longer hollow but steady, holding them both. The courtroom was packed with low murmurs when the clerk read the charges: attempted poisoning, larceny over $80,000. The prosecutor held up the folded paper, still inside its evidence sleeve. Lisa's attorney didn't cross-examine the lab tech. The jury was out for 43 minutes. When they returned, the foreman stood and delivered a single word: guilty. The judge's gavel cracked twice. Lisa was sentenced to 7 years, the ring's value making it a felony. As bailiffs led her from the courtroom, Lisa's face was blank, her gaze never reaching the gallery where Michael sat. That same week, Michael filed for divorce. The papers were signed without contest. He wrote his name with a steady hand, and the ink dried before his tears could reach it. Shirley watched the sun set from her porch that evening, the ring still on her finger.
Justice isn't loud. Sometimes it's just a gavel, a signature, and the soft green light that never left my hand.
The ring had outlasted greed, poison, and a plot that crumbled under its own weight. 3 months later, Shirley hosted a family brunch. The house, too quiet lately, buzzed with reluctant laughter. When a cousin admired the ring, Shirley touched the emerald and offered its history.
My grandmother hid it in her dress during the war. When she gave it to me, she said, "Guard it with your life."
The table quieted as she spoke, the old story filling the room with a weight that needed no explanation.
I've never taken it off. Not for a single night.
Michael's eyes glistened. He turned away, then back, and gave the smallest nod.
She kept it safe from what I almost let happen.
After the guests left, they walked the garden path, ring glinting through the leaves,
One day it will be his, when he's ready to guard it the same way.
and the emerald burned quiet and green, its legacy restored. A letter arrived in a plain envelope, postmarked from the state prison. The stamp was upside down. Shirley recognized the handwriting before she read the sender's name, the same slant that had penned their wedding invitation. She sat in the lamplight, unfolded 3 pages, and read without moving her lips, her face still. The first line was a plea. "I've changed. I am begging you to forgive me." The rest was a tangle of blame and regret, the sentences looping back to her own suffering and pleading.
This isn't regret. It's loneliness dressed up in prison paper.
Shirley folded the letter along its original creases, each crease sharpened by her thumb. She pulled open a small desk drawer and placed the letter inside. The drawer closed with a soft click that echoed in the quiet room. She did not write back. Silence was her only reply. Dusk settled over the porch, the air turning soft and gray. Shirley sat in her old wicker chair, the ring burning on her finger like a small green sun. She touched the emerald with her thumb, the motion as familiar as breathing, and the slow smile returned, the one that had watched a secret reveal itself over a cup of tea. She was alone, but not lonely. A breeze stirred the ivy, and the neighborhood carried on its quiet evening routine. The ring had crossed a war, a marriage, a widowhood, and a daughter-in-law's greed, and it remained, deep green and indomitable, on the finger where it belonged.
He'll be ready one day, and until then, I'll keep guarding it.
And in that quiet, the evening folded around her like a familiar coat. The last thread of daylight slipped below the hills, and the porch fell into a deep violet twilight. The ring on Shirley's finger caught that vanishing light, a stubborn emerald flame. It pulsed with a life of its own, the deep green defying the night. She turned the ring one last time, a soft scrape of gold before the darkness swallowed everything else. The screen darkened, erasing the house, the chair, the ivy, everything but that green light. Alone on black velvet, the ring held the last ember of the story. No voice, no hand, no memory, just the emerald in the dark. It did not need a closing argument. It was the argument. The switch had taken 3 seconds. The victory would outlast a lifetime. Sometimes, the quietest switch is the loudest victory.